Hello, everyone. It's Frank, and we're getting ready to navigate the NJ boating license test. Obtaining your boating license in New Jersey is all about understanding the rules of the water and ensuring safety for everyone. Let's cast off and review these key questions. In New Jersey, what is the minimum age to operate a power vessel? 16 years old for most power vessels, 13 for small, low HP vessels. Specific age requirements apply to different vessel types to ensure operator competence. On to the next one. What document must a person carry on board when operating a power vessel on NJ waters if required to have one? A New Jersey boating safety certificate. This certificate proves you've completed the required boating safety education. What's after this? What is the primary responsibility of a vessel operator to maintain a proper lookout and avoid collisions? Safety on the water begins with constant vigilance. Moving on, when two power driven vessels are approaching each other head on, what action should each vessel take? Both vessels should turn to starboard, right. This is the nautical equivalent of keeping to your right on the road. So what's next? If a power-driven vessel is crossing your path from your starboard, right side, what should you do? You are the give-way vessel and must take early action to avoid collision. The vessel on your starboard has the right of way. Next on our list. If a sailboat is crossing your path from your port left side, what should you generally do? The power-driven vessel should give way to the sailboat. Sailboats generally have the right of way over power-driven vessels, except in specific situations. Okay, what's after this? When is it legal to tow a person on water skis or a tube in New Jersey, from sunrise to sunset? Towing is only permitted during daylight hours for safety. Let's move on. What is the purpose of the slow speed no wake rule? To prevent damage from waves and to ensure safety in congested areas. Your wake can cause damage to other vessels, docks, or the shoreline. What about this next one? What is the required distance a powerboat must maintain from a marina, pier, wharf, or dock to travel faster than no wake speed in New Jersey? 200 feet. This distance helps protect property and people in congested areas. On to the next question. How far away from a military or naval vessel must a recreational vessel slow to minimum speed in New Jersey? 500 yards. This is a security measure to protect naval assets. Moving forward. What color are odd-numbered buoys in the lateral buoy system when returning from sea? Green. Red right returning helps you remember. Red buoys on your right when returning, so green are on your left. Let's consider the next one. What color are even-numbered buoys in the lateral buoy system when returning from sea? Red. Remember, red right returning. Red buoys are on your right side when heading in from the sea. And the next point. What does a white buoy with an orange diamond and a cross through it indicate? An exclusion or do not enter area. These mark areas where vessels are prohibited, like swimming zones. What's next? What does a white buoy with an orange diamond indicate? A hazard or danger, e.g., rock shoal. These warn you of dangers that might not be visible. Moving on to this. What does a white buoy with an orange circle indicate? A controlled area or restriction, e.g., speed limit, no anchoring. These indicate areas with specific rules or limitations. All right, let's see. What type of personal flotation device, PFD, must be immediately available on vessels 16 feet or longer, except canoes and kayaks? Type 4, throwable cushion or ring buoy. This PFD is for someone in the water, not to be worn. What's after this? In New Jersey, children of what age are required to wear a USCG-approved PFD while on board any vessel that is underway? 12 years old and under. This is a critical safety regulation for young passengers. Next question. What is the primary safety device for preventing propeller strikes when boarding or disembarking a boat? Turning off the engine. Never allow anyone near the propeller when the engine is running. Let's get to this one. What information is typically found on a boat's capacity plate? Maximum weight capacity, maximum persons, and maximum horsepower. Always adhere to these limits for safe operation. Okay, what's next? When should navigation lights be displayed? From sunset to sunrise and during periods of restricted visibility, e.g., fog, heavy rain. Navigation lights ensure your vessel is visible to others. Moving on. What is the main characteristic of a planing hull? It rises up and glides on top of the water at speed. Planing hulls are designed for higher speeds. So what's next? What is the main characteristic of a displacement hull? It moves through the water by pushing it aside and is generally slower. Displacement hulls are typically found on larger, heavier vessels. Next on our list, where should a boat's registration number and validation decal be displayed in New Jersey? On both sides of the bow. This ensures your vessel is properly identified and compliant. Okay, what's after this? What is the minimum dollar amount of damage to a boat that must be reported to the New Jersey State Police Marine Services Bureau? $2,000. Any accident resulting in significant damage must be reported. Let's move on. What is carbon monoxide, CO, and why is it dangerous on a boat? A colorless, odorless, tasteless, and deadly gas. CO can build up in enclosed areas on a boat and be fatal. What about this next one? What should you do first if you run aground? Make sure everyone is okay and check for leaks. Prioritize safety and assess the damage. On to the next question. What should you do if visibility becomes restricted due to fog? Reduce speed, turn on navigation lights, and be prepared to take action to avoid collision. Fog significantly increases the risk of collision, so take precautions. Moving forward, what is the legal requirement for a competent observer when towing a person on water skis or a tube with a vessel in New Jersey? A competent observer must be on board in addition to the operator. The observer watches the person being towed, allowing the operator to focus on navigating. Let's consider the next one. What is the primary purpose of a float plan? To provide details of your trip to a reliable person on shore in case of an emergency. This plan helps rescuers if you don't return as expected. And the next point. What must you do with your engine when someone is being pulled into the boat from the water? Turn off the engine. This prevents propeller strikes and ensures safety. What's next? What is the effect of alcohol while boating compared to its effect on land? It has a greater effect while boating due to sun, motion, and vibration. The marine environment exacerbates the effects of alcohol. Moving on to this. In New Jersey, if you operate a boat, you imply consent to what? A breathalyzer test if suspected of boating under the influence, BUI. This is similar to implied consent laws for driving a car. All right, let's see. What is the purpose of an ignition safety switch, kill switch, on a powerboat or PWC? To automatically shut off the engine if the operator is thrown from the helm. This prevents a runaway vessel and potential injuries. What's after this? What type of fire extinguisher is typically required on recreational boats? USCG approved Type B for flammable liquids. Type B extinguishers are designed for fires involving fuels and oils. Next question. What should you do before fueling your vessel? Turn off the engine, close all doors, windows, and hatches, and extinguish all open flames. This prevents the ignition of fuel vapors. Let's get to this one. What is the primary purpose of a stern light on a powerboat? An all-around white light or a masthead light combined with side lights. The stern light is part of the required navigation lights that show your vessel's position. Okay, what's next? What is hypothermia? A condition where the body loses heat faster than it can produce it, especially in cold water. Hypothermia is a serious risk in cold water and can quickly become life-threatening. Moving on. What is the general rule for approaching a dock with your vessel? Approach into the wind or current, whichever is stronger. This allows the wind or current to slow you down and provides more control. So what's next? What is the recommended procedure if you fall overboard in cold water? Try to get back into or onto your boat or on something else that floats. Getting out of the water, even partially, helps reduce heat loss. Next on our list, what is the primary function of a bilge pump? To remove water from the lowest part of the hull. A working bilge pump helps prevent your boat from sinking due to leaks or waves. Okay, what's after this? What is an efficient means of producing a sound signal required on boats under 39, 4 feet? A whistle or horn. Sound signals are crucial for communication and warning in restricted visibility. Let's move on. What is required to be on board an 18-foot boat in federally controlled waters in New Jersey? USCG approved visual distress signals, VDS, PFDs, and a sound producing device. These are federal requirements for safety on most navigable waters. What about this next one? What is true about personal watercraft PWC operation in New Jersey? PWCs may only be operated from sunrise to sunset. PWCs have specific operating hour restrictions for safety. On to the next question. What is the minimum length PWC that must be used to tow a person in New Jersey? a three-seater PWC. This allows for the operator, the observer, and the towed person. Moving forward, what is the distance a PWC must be from the shoreline to operate at a speed greater than minimum headway speed in New Jersey, 100 feet? This rule protects swimmers and prevents excessive wake near shore. Let's consider the next one. What does it mean if the compass bearing of an approaching vessel does not appreciably change? There is a risk of collision. This is a critical indicator that you are on a collision course. And the next point. What is the purpose of a lookout on a vessel? To watch for navigational hazards, other vessels, and potential dangers. A dedicated lookout helps ensure situational awareness and safety. What's next? What is the first action required of a boat operator who witnesses an accident? Provide assistance to the persons affected if safe to do so. You have a legal and moral obligation to render aid. Moving on to this. What is the purpose of the hull identification number, AHIN, on a boat? It is a unique 12-digit number that identifies the boat. The AHIN is like a vehicle VIN and is used for registration and identification. All right, let's see. In New Jersey, when a boat capsizes or is submerged, what should you generally do? Stay with the boat or try to get back onto it. Your boat, even if capsized, provides buoyancy and is easier for rescuers to spot than a single person in the water. That concludes our comprehensive review for the NJ Boating License Test. Keep studying these regulations and safe boating practices. Knowing this information is vital for enjoying New Jersey's waterways safely and responsibly. Good luck.